I bet you 100 you've never heard of Meizhou's Marinated Noodles, Meizhou Yanmian.
Shenzhen, mega metropolis. Commuters make over 5 million trips on this subway daily. That number probably won't shrink anytime soon. I've explained in the previous video, Shenzhen is an energetic and promising city that attracts worldwide talents, particularly fellow Guangdong provincials, which is why various substyles and forms of Cantonese cuisine can be found in Shenzhen. The night before, we sampled the lesser-known Yuezhi Cai, or cuisine of West Guangdong. What we're having tonight is more prevalent. At the Yijunge restaurant, we're gonna try Hakka cuisine. This is a culinary tradition of the Hakka, which literally means guest family because ancestors of this Han Chinese subgroup relocated from the north to the south during various migrations and became guests at the new locations of residence. Iconic Hakka dish Tofu, stuffed tofu, was invented because the migrants couldn't find wheat in the south to make dough for dumpling, a historically northern food. So they replaced dough with bean curd. At least that is one theory I've seen in several books. The dish is also renowned because of the dexterity required to fill the meatball into the tofu without the tofu breaking or the meatball falling out. Just as renowned is the yanjuji, salt-baked chicken. It was born from the need to use salt to preserve food during the Hakka's long-distance migration. I'll talk about this in a later video because it turns out we choose another chicken dish.
The most renowned chicken dish in Hakka cuisine is probably yanjuji, salt-baked chicken, which is on the menu here. But the restaurant totes this, the Chongyou dayanji, scallion oil capon as its signature. They supplemented the classic recipe with onion and a capon that is castrated rooster, and it is prized for its higher fat content, as you can see here, as well as the more potent chicken flavor.
Due to the decreased hormone levels, capon meat is less gamey, and also tenderer and fattier because capons are less active. I've read that in some villages, only one rooster would be kept intact, while other cockerels are caponized for the superior meat. The meat is superb. Sink your teeth into the breast. Even that is soft and succulent. Whether capon or chicken, the Hakkas know how to cook their fowls. They know how to cook their pigs too. Since ancient Hakkas were newcomers to an area, they could only settle down in the mountains as the flatter, more arable lands were already occupied by locals. This meant that Hakkas had to make do with limited space. Under this circumstance, chicken and pig are the most suitable livestock. This 客家猪肉汤, Hakka pork soup, is made by steaming so it has that light, clean taste, but also flavored with a generous amount of white pepper. We'd encounter a different type of Hakka pork soup during breakfast next morning at this eatery that serves 客家腌粉面, Hakka Marinated Noodles.
Since the yanmian or yanfen are dry, you have to wash them down with something. The premier soup of choice is the jidi tang, or the triple scholar soup. Jidi refers to, the triple scholars refers to lean pork, pork liver, and the duodenum. If you don't know what the duodenum is, watch my past video. And they're cooked here with leaves of the goji berry.
Yes, leaves of berries can be consumed like veggies. Back at the Yijunge Hakka restaurant last night, we ordered shangtang shangye, mulberry leaves in broth. I've read that's a specialty of Wengyuan County of Shaoguan City, a major Hakka settlement and sericulture hub. The mulberry leaves are silky soft, as are the goji berry leaves in the triple scholar soup here. Well, maybe 3 scholars would be more appropriate. Jidi is the collective term for the top 3 individuals in ancient imperial examination. Coincidentally, the Hakka people are well known for their focus on education. This focus is by and large shared among the Han Chinese, but particularly so among the Hakkas due to the aforesaid lack of farmland for them. Consequently, many Hakkas turned to the government, and there have been numerous accomplished generals and statesmen of Hakka lineage. We'll talk about that in a later video filmed in Huizhou. Let us now return to this meal of noodles from Meizhou. The yanmian noodles are garlicky, and even though the jidi soup appears to be mild, somehow it isn't overpowered by the garlic. Take a sip to cleanse your taste buds. And the crazy thing is, the next slurp of noodles feels even more garlicky.
For you Chinese food enthusiasts out there, especially those fond of noodles, you might have heard of Wuhan's hot dry noodle 湿肉酱面, or Beijing's fried sauce noodles, 炸酱面, or Sichuan's Korean pole noodles, 担担面. But I bet you 100 you've never heard of Meizhou's Marinated Noodles, Meizhou Yanmian.
There's actually no marination involved in yanmian. At its most basic level, chopped garlic is stir-fried in lard, then mixed with cooked noodles, or rice noodles as shown in this bowl. The first character yan is normally understood as to pickle or to marinate. but in the Hakka dialect, it can mean to mix, similar to the verb lao in the last video. This alternative meaning is actually a crystallization of the Hakka's propensity to preserve ancient culture of the Central Plain, where Hakka ancestors originated. I'll write about this in the description section. I've never been to the Hakka Cultural Center of Meizhou, but people say that over there, yanmian stores outnumber other types of restaurants and that yanmian is the comfort food for Meizhou folks living like guests elsewhere. They can find that comfort here in Shenzhen. I reckon a significant portion of Shenzhen citizens, homeowners or otherwise, can be deemed a sort of guest in this young metropolis, because Shenzhen doesn't have a big indigenous population, but unlike the ancient Hakkas who were forced to migrate due to problems like famine and settled down as guest families here in southern China, today people voluntarily come to Shenzhen to look for success in this land of opportunity. Shenzhen's economy gained traction in the 80s and 90s in part because of the electronics industry, which revolves around Huaqiangbei, one of the largest electronics markets in the world. We'll see that in the next video, along with a lunch of Shunde fare, another major component of Cantonese cuisine. 再见!